Right. Okay. Cool. So this is the Import-Export weekly meeting. I'm joined by Carsten.
Hi.
And yeah, we're gonna highlight a few things because we've had in the last 2 weeks we've had quite a lot of pull requests come in, but we have unfortunately not had a meeting for a while. So I thought I would give everyone an update. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago we had the hackathon as part of Magento Germany, and at that point, myself, Carsten, and Ulf started to work on a few issues with the import-export. And out of that, we got 6 pull requests, which we need to process with the core architectural team, because a few of them are changing some behavior. Well, fixing issues, but also you have to change some behavior, so we need to double check that. And we've also had a pull request in the last couple of days from Tai, and he has improved some error messages, which I think is pretty useful in the import. So we will talk through that. So how about Carsten? We start with your pull request. So let's start with this one. Yeah.
What I found out, what the problem is, I think in the original issue, they figured that out already as well, is that when we get the category collection, when importing a product, that the store ID is not set on this collection, and core code will set it to 1. To the ID of the store 1, if we don't set it otherwise. And I think even in the original issue, someone commented that he did it this way, but then some tests would fail. And I had the same issue, and I have not yet managed to run the functional tests on my local system, but I looked at the code and the test CSV file, and yeah, that's the solution, my solution. Yeah, it seems to be the case that the category name on admin view is, or that's the name, category admin, and on default store it's set to category default store, and on this test CSV file, to address the category, it's actually using the name from store item 1. This seems to be, I don't know, intended behavior, or it was just I think the test was written to reflect the code, and maybe not the other way around. And yeah, the test won't fail if I change it to admin to address the category. And part of the issue was that they want to address the category with the admin name, which I think is reasonable, and I think it was like that in Magento 1 as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you're adding in the setting of the store ID, and then that will also include the admin name for the category when it loads the processing, right?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I will. I'll get this to the core architect just to double check that we're okay with this. I can't see a reason why you would want it to be the default rather than the admin.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah, I want to just double check that before we go anywhere. The other thing of note is probably a good option to do a documentation change with this one as well, since we're changing it. So when this gets processed, or during the processing point, I will probably also talk with the DevDocs team, or maybe the DevDocs team for this, to talk about how the best way would be to demonstrate this or to document that change. Cool. Yep. All right. And the next one is the empty validation, right?
Yeah, what they did, they imported customers and from a CSV file, and they left their first name and last name in white spaces or space. And yeah, to solve this, the problem was that you can see that this is required check is occurring after the check if the value is set and still then is present. So it won't go into this required check if you have white spaces in there, because it will have a string length longer than 0.
Oh, here, yeah. You'll hit this.
And yeah, I didn't really know how to solve it except put the required check in front of that. And yeah, then I included a trim for the string.
All right, yeah. So you're checking if it's required, then you're still doing the original.
Yeah, the first line is the original check.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And then you're checking if it's empty after the trim.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then, oh right, yeah.
That's a related thing that was also on the issue. It happens that if you leave first name and last name in white spaces, then it will only show one error message.
Right, because it's the error message is the unique part of the validation at the moment, rather than error and column.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't need to keep it compatible with old code. I added the equals null.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I check for the column name, and then no test fit anymore. Took me some try.
Yeah, this one I think looks good. I think it's sensible to make the required check before checking the data. Or sorry, moving the required check first, so we hit that if there is a required issue, and then going into the other validation.
Yeah, Ulf suggested a different writing for that code. Yeah, of course, I agree. Of course, it's better readable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they do that in Magento Core?
I've seen it in a few places. Yeah, I've seen it. I think, yeah, definitely when it comes to validation and more detailed checks, the easier we can make my English is gone. The more readable it is, the better. So I would be tempted to go down his approach as well here, because then you can see exactly what the two checks are, and it's a bit easier to read.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
So yeah, I would suggest that it's fine to make that change like he suggested.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do. Okay.
Cool. All right, great. Then we had Ulf's date time update, which again it is injecting the date time config into the exporter, so that we are actually formatting the date when we in the right format when we're doing the export, because previously if you exported and then tried to re-import, you were not able to do it because of the one of the reasons was because of the format. So I'm all right with these changes, but I want again just to get the core architectures to have a look at it, especially because we are adding in some new classes and interfaces. So I just wanted to double check that that's okay. But he's come across some tests as well, so I think it should be good. But I want to pass that on to them. The final one we had is to do with adding more error messaging. So if you especially when it comes to configurable products, it's quite hard to understand what the messages or what the errors were. And so what we've done with this one is we're checking to see the three there are 3 new checks that the attribute code, if the attribute code doesn't exist, if it's not in the global scope, and also if it is not a select type, because in that case, you can't use them for configurable options. Also making sure that the attribute is super as well, and checking that it's got valid options. Yeah, there are a few things that I would like to update in this pull request, so I will just message the contributor with my feedback on this. But again, everything in itself looks relatively okay, and it is clearer as to what the validation is doing. It also helps the user with when an admin user is using the import. So I think this is a good change. We just need to make sure that everything is clean and to standard, and then I think that will be fine. All right. Other than that, I don't think there is. I don't think there's much more. I need to give some feedback to Adam with regards to these 2 pull requests. But other than that, everything seems to be going fine for this. I appreciate your time, and I will hope to get some feedback for you this week with regards to your pull requests. If I don't, feel free to bug me. You know how to find me. Just message me and keep asking until they get merged. But I think it's some good fixes, even though code-wise it's not that detailed, but a lot of the import-export improvements is a lot of effort in debugging. And then once you find the change, the relatively small changes, but will improve the system. And what I like about what you've done is it also helps to clarify what's going on as well in terms of validation points and stuff like that. So I'm happy with how that's going. Yeah. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for today. So thank you for joining, and yeah, keep up to date in the Slack channel. And if you have anything you need from either me or anyone else, feel free to drop a message in there.
Okay.
All right.